press fucking record.
I think you just did there now, mate.
About time. Jesus.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Our Smiling Faces podcast. And we're back. And once again, you didn't expect to see us, but
we're here.
There's not much news in regards to information from the club, as you can see.
Well, there's a surprise.
There's Lee Charnley, gagged.
Why does Lee Charnley look like Sven-Goran Eriksson?
Well, when I first come in, he went, "Who do you think that is now?" And Rafa, and he went,
"Rafa."
Well, I didn't. But he had glasses.
Why has he got an elephant on his t-shirt?
It does look like an elephant.
It does, doesn't it?
Can you get a close-up of this on the camera so that the people at home can see this?
I'll take a photo of it later. I'll tweet it out and see if anyone can
it
guess
it. It looks more like Rafa than it does Sven.
It doesn't look anything like...
Sven had more hair than Rafa. He didn't have a bit of a goatee thing going on.
That's not a goatee.
That's not a goatee.
Well, sorry.
It says no cement.
Charlie's got some sort of stubble, like. I'm sure he has.
I didn't pay any attention. I don't know why.
Has he not got hair? Oh no, he's bald, isn't he? Right.
He looks like you with glasses.
Okay, no. Oh,
yeah, he has on that.
We should try that one day.
Looks like a BFG.
What I'll do, I'll take my hat off one day, right, and I'll just put some glasses on. I'll see if I can get in the ground and pretend I'm Charlie. So, what were you here to talk about?
I've got no idea.
What's happened since the last time well, you weren't here the last one.
There's quite a bit, really.
Right, so...
There's not really.
There is. So at the point of the last record, there's only one statement. So I had seen the initial statement, if I remember correctly.
The last scoop I did halfway through and sent you that breaking news.
Yeah, so you literally ruined the podcast, the last one, didn't you? The mood went from up here to down.
I felt I had to share this important news.
Oh, but that was the worst article ever, though.
Yeah, so...
Meant nothing.
Granted, we didn't read the article during the podcast. We just looked at it and went, "Oh, for fuck's sake!"
Yeah.
Obviously, it was one with Craig, but if you read the article, it was garbage. Basically, twisting the truth. Well, what we believe to be the truth.
Who knows?
What we believe to be the truth. So, a second statement by the group. The proposed
by fax.
What?
By fax.
All right. Okay. Is that what they're called?
Fax.
By fax. He means to send it in by fax.
What's he saying that for?
I did. He's a gimp.
Because I'm like back in the 90s. That's why people sent faxes in the 90s, didn't they?
Alright, so...
Nobody uses fax anymore, do they?
You still play Tamagotchi or whatever it is. What is it again?
Tamagotchi.
What did you do again? Pokemon. That was the 90s.
That was the most grand thing I've ever heard you say.
These
youngins with the Tamagotchis. So yeah, the second...
Getting his Furby out next.
The second... Oh, you better not. The second statement was the one which was given to the likes of the papers. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember what it said. What did the second one say?
Given the Chronicle?
Yeah, basically that one.
Well, it was just kind of confirming, wasn't it, saying that... I think that was the one where it was saying the funds had been...
Dates, wasn't it?
The 17th of April. So that had proof of funds had been sent at that time. Now, obviously, I know the club Well, I'm not saying anything other. They're just saying no comment and everything. But I'm sure it was that one that the club then says, well, actually, yeah, like it's a genuine statement. Like it's, we're not confirming all of it, but
they confirmed it was a genuine
but like,
statement.
There's people talking about the club confirming this. To who?
They confirmed it because the Chronicle and I think another newspaper went to the club to say,
it was Mark Douglas
we've received this statement. Yeah. Is the statement bullshit or not? And they've went, no, it's a...
But is it confirmed by Chronicle sources or is it confirmed by some sort of official at Newcastle? Because I haven't seen anything other than the Chronicle's word of this.
They said it had been confirmed by the club.
So,
was an official
so we're just clinging on to that.
Well, you kind of are, yeah. But what I would say...
But why would the club say that to the Chronicle and not release something to the fans?
Because they're not commenting until it's a done deal, are they?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Until for a fact that if this is going to happen, that you'll know about it happening is when the club have released a statement saying we can confirm Mike Ashley is dead.
Yeah.
Thank Christ for that.
By dead, he means not at the club anymore.
Either or,
Jesus Christ!
I'm not going to. Even the staff at the club have received things explaining that no comments going to be going forward, so that we are from now until the foreseeable future we are going to go with a no comment strategy.
So it happened last time with the whole Kenyan thing happened with the Staveley thing. When something's happening with the media, something high profile like this, the people at the club will be told not to say a word to the media, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've got it at your company. If you're ever contacted by the media, it's always a no comment situation. Same with my work, but
happens quite regularly.
Same with Adam's work. So you'll find if say like your business was in the news, you'd have people hanging around outside trying to get people for comment on stuff, and you do get told not to say anything because you could get sacked at the end of the day for saying it. But as far as we're concerned, normally it's a no comment situation. It's business as usual situation, but certain things are being said to staff, which is slightly different to that. It leads on a little bit more. Mentions of ongoing situations and confidentiality. We haven't heard that before. Normally it's basically no comment. They don't go into detail. I know it's not much detail, but there's a little bit more than what there normally is.
There's a couple of lines, not even
confidentiality is the one which, for me, thinks, what's going on here?
Yeah, I agree. And it says talks ongoing. So
moving on from that, obviously we can't give too much away in regards to that, but moving on from that, the press are sitting, I wouldn't say they're sitting on the fence, but rather than putting the eggs in one basket, they're spreading them, covering their own backs, really, aren't they?
It's a case of...
the eggs full of shit.
You know, once bitten, twice shy, but in this case, it's 3 times bitten, isn't it? We've been here that many times with, you know, in the past, 2 very recently, with Kenyon and Moonface Stavely, and then, you know, before that, Raoul Moat's brother. So it's...
There's a couple of journalists, right, that I'm going to give a bit, I can't remember the names, but a bit of credit. That some of them don't know what the hell's going on. And they're quite honestly saying that. Listen, people that I spoke to think that nothing's happening, so I'm just going to keep me finger out the pie. You've got other ones that are making every hole in the pie they can imagine. The Chronicle, for example, honest to God, I was furious the other day. I read something at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? Now you imagine at work, every single time something pops up, people are over saying, oh, what do you think of this? Blah, blah. Of course they are. By the time I've answered the question off the article they've just read, there's another one saying the article they've just printed shit from the same paper. So the Chronicle's saying, actually, what we just said 10 minutes ago is bullshit.
That's the problem when you're dealing with sources, isn't it? Is that, you know, you'll be told one thing. Like I could go and ask Kris his opinion on what's happening, and take that on face value and say, right, this is what I've heard, this is the situation. I speak to you an hour later, and you've got a different take on it altogether.
Well, they ain't right now until you've got all your sources.
But I think the problem is especially at the Chronicle, you've got what four
there's like
reporters that cover
4 or 5, I think,
Newcastle.
4 or 5 Newcastle. So yeah,
they're all going to be talking to different people, getting different bits and pieces, isn't it?
But how? One of them, when I would from, he's hopeless.
To be fair though, the thing is with the Chronicle, no matter what they print, it's going to get attention, isn't it? So from their point of view, it makes perfect sense for them to print every story going.
I don't know.
Because they're going to get.
Well, let's remember
the traffic to it, aren't they?
When we had the media day, a few, not the one just gone, the one before that, we spoke because a lot of lads from the Chronicle involved in that. And we spoke to them, and they fully admitted saying that you've got to remember we're employed by a company who expect this amount of articles to be published every day. They expect this amount of traffic on the website. Hence, that's the reason for
100%.
These articles. And to be fair, the Chronicle, the clickbait used to be a lot worse. So they've calmed it down the last couple of seasons because a lot of fans started kicking off about some of the headlines that they were printing and some of the articles that they were printing, just misleading you to go on. But then again, we saw one at the weekend saying Rafa had to sell players.
Aye, it was terrible, that one. That was. I'll be honest. I maybe fell in the trap. I didn't even click on the article because I was so furious that I had read again a day before that he had 61 million, and they had spoken to people and said that's how much he had. Then a day later, almost, it felt like.
Where did the 1 million come from?
Because it was 11 million from January.
No,
so he had 11. He had. It's 2 million for him, isn't it?
That's good. I like that one.
They had 11 million from January, which is carried on to the 50, so he's got 61. So they were saying he's got 61 million, and then a day later you're reading from the same guy. Actually, you have to sell to buy. What? Like that? I just.
But when you read the article, then it went out to explain.
Yeah,
but he's got that 61 million.
It contradicted its own title. That's so annoying.
But we know that is always the case, isn't it? So that's really
but it's not new, he's got 61
news.
Million.
No, I mean I'm talking about the sell to buy. That is 100% is the situation we would expect to be in at this.
It's probably the situation at most clubs, really, when you think about it.
Exactly. I listened to the podcast the other day. They reckon Arsenal's got 40 million. It's all they've got on the nose. If you want any more, sell. That's Arsenal, man. We're Newcastle United with a tight arse owner. So it's every club, as he's saying, every single
Arsenal
club.
are the same. Arsenal don't
Most
spend
clubs
money,
do sell the fair share of players each season and bring, obviously, they might spend more to bring them in, but they're still selling players.
It's a ridiculous argument to think we're going to, so we just keep all the players we've got and just spend even more. You can't do that, man. We'll have to sell some people.
But the way that the article was headline was basically, he's literally got fuck all to spend unless he sells players.
That was exactly how I've seen it. And I didn't click on it because I'd had enough by then, but yes, that's how I read it. And I thought, that's just late. It's just pathetic. Because, as I was saying, the same paper, the same person said a week ago that he had 61 million. So bravely, I know, I've spoken to him. It's the wallpaper's coming off and we're having 61 million. Great, brilliant. And then they've written an article, tweet an article like that, and you're like, fuck off. It's just everything, man.
So, moving on from the whole clickbait and things that we see in the press, and the press really not... There's a few people that... So Sky Sports are no idea what's going on. I looked on their website today and we've had 2 articles in the last 2 weeks, I think, about Newcastle United. One of them's the one before we even start recording in regards to potential takeover, and the next one's about Diome leaving.
Yeah.
So they don't have any update, to be completely honest with you.
Though.
Yeah. So he might actually stay on.
Right.
So
which you would think would be dependent on...
Well, it depends on all sorts.
George Colton came out. He's one of the journalists who I respect. He's up there. Obviously, he got his fingers burnt with the whole Stavely thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was dead on that was happening. He came out the other day and he went, "I'll give you an update when I've got it." Basically, I've got no further update.
To be fair, that's the thing. From a fan's point of view, he's getting respect for that because he's not. He's not saying one way or another. Well, he's saying he's getting contradictory information, but he's not acting on it. He's not publishing it. But in all honesty, is there as much demand from a Times reader to find out about Newcastle United and the current takeover?
Yeah, so I suppose he could get away with not mentioning Newcastle left, right, and centre. I suppose
exactly
compared to a local newspaper,
the Chronicle, the Shields Gazette.
Shields Gazette had the article about
all of that kind of thing. It's because it's local news. The Sun, Mirror, Star, all of those kind of things will publish it because they know they'll get Newcastle, fans that'll want to read it, so they'll buy it. Or they'll go on the website and do it. The Mail, you've got Hope that writes the articles. He's done some good stuff in the past.
Hope should like some winding us up. Really, I think he does.
He does.
You don't know if it's just because
to be fair, his sources might basically say nothing's happening. So he might only have one source that's saying, fuck all's happening, mate.
I've got better sources in the
To be fair, until that guy from the Sun came out and broke the news on that Sunday night out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So if this turns out to be true and happens, that bloke has pulled out an absolute blinder, hasn't he?
Rabbit out the hat, innit?
Really
for such an absolute shit rag of a beer.
Nobody had ever heard of this fella before. But he comes and gets a story like that.
That's why I think there's so much in it, because it was so left field. Yeah. It's just come from absolutely nowhere. And if it was bullshit, the club would have come out by now and said it's bullshit. I honestly think they're not saying anything because there's something happening.
Yeah.
Does that mean absolutely going to take over? It doesn't. No, of course it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
It means Ashley hasn't fucked up yet.
But it means there's something going on.
That's
now,
the fear of it.
Going back to what they originally said, almost right at the beginning, they said that nothing's going to happen soon. It'll take a month. Then they say about a month. Now it was 2 weeks ago when that article you referenced to got launched. So there's another 2 weeks to go, and that's why there's not much happening. Plus it's been Eid, and I've heard that them can't do any
nothing really, no business, nothing.
Ramadan during the entire time.
So that's finished now. But what I forgot to mention there is, did any of you listen to the podcast with the Chronicle?
Which one?
With the lad from Bein Sports.
Was that the first?
No, when I tried it was gone by the time.
So the one that got took down because of technical issues.
Right.
So if we had an error,
editing issues.
So if we had an error, right, on the podcast, which forced an episode to go down, guess what I do? Put it back up.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Just publish it again. Audio was fine. I listened to audio. It was fine the first time.
So why did they take it down, do you think? Then?
No idea.
Did they give too much away?
So
maybe?
the fella, I'm sure he was it BN?
Ben Jacobs.
Yeah. he gave a lot of information in regards to his thoughts on it. It might not be true, but he gave a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying the technical issues one little bit.
No, I wouldn't either. No.
Know for fine well what it takes to publish a podcast. Like it's pretty simple. How many podcasts?
Well, it's funny how
hundreds.
How
not ones that
able
technical
to-
issues have gone down from our side.
Well, that's like when you forget to plug leads in.
True. True.
No, but you're right. I don't understand how you've had it on for ages, and it's been well, not ages, but a while.
Well, it comes to something when somebody's able to take a recording of that podcast and then publish it for themselves.
Yeah, it's still live now. I've got a link to it. It's still live now. Maybe I'll put it on this. And I'll get the numbers for it.
So what was your takeaways from listening to that then?
When I finished watching that, I had me dick out, mate. Like, dick out, champagne out. Like, I was covering me dick in champagne. I was going to ring you to come have a drink. Off me dick.
I'll do anything you wanted.
But
Takeover, baby.
It was like
it would have been straight hour.
it was up there, like basically saying it might take 3 to 4 weeks. He was expecting the next statement to be released to be between both Newcastle and the group there, saying this is what's happening. Like, this is how far we are. He was under the impression that everything had been agreed. The likes of deals, the likes of Fader to buy the club, everything was done. So from then on, it didn't last long. The podcast, it wasn't up for long before.
Maybe they took it down because they might. I don't know if they're worried that the Chronicle might get shit in regards to.
Maybe they've had
that
some.
Happens.
If I had to put money on it, I would say that someone from the club's been in touch
Perhaps you're right.
and went, take it off.
Yeah,
I would imagine he's said too much.
Yeah.
Which
So
could
if that's
potentially damage.
But if that is the case, and then happy to his.
Which it's
in
probably
way,
a case
you know
of
what I mean? If
that
said too
he's
much.
gave away information that can only come from somebody closely associated with the sale, which then
So the Chronicle's been
prompts
very
subsequently-
hush about this podcast. People have asked them where it's gone. The reply is just technical issues.
Yeah.
And it was a decent podcast as well. That would have hit numbers, that, mate.
Yeah. Oh, no, I agree with you. And again, it's another little piece of the puzzle that if they've getting rid of it, it's because they've given too much away. And if the club have said, listen, get it off, then why would the club say that? Because there's something going on. Surely. Right, where's the champagne?
To the fridge, it's over there.
No, I think, honestly, like I swear to you, I think it's savage. I think it's fine. I think it just takes time. You're not going to Primark to buy a pair of jeans here. You know, you're talking like 350 million to buy with any potential investment. It could be £1 billion project, in a sense. You know what I mean? So these things take time, and I think.
So let's talk about Company's House.
That was a huge bit. Wasn't it?
So, a Monochrome Acquisitions.
It's a brilliant name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So, at first, when I first saw it, I thought maybe it's just someone taking the piss. But when you look at the directors and the people who are involved, it's everyone who's been linked.
And you
can't just do that. You need their authorization.
Well, you can
need
register. You can register the
name.
company name.
You can register any. It only
address
costs
and all
12
that kind
quid.
of thing, and you know, but what the kicker with it was that the proofs had been kind of provided around the directors.
You can't falsely put someone's name on
you
there
can't.
without their authorization because you'll end up in a shitload of bother.
Right, yeah.
So
well,
this-
and it was verified as well that it was genuine.
So what are they doing that for?
So if you look into it, and Andy's looked into it, who does the Waysay, and he seems quite screwed on with this sort of stuff, Andy. And he said this sort of company is set up to transfer funds, solely there to transfer funds. It's the lawyers who have been linked with Ashley in the past. They were the ones who were acting, I think, when he bought Newcastle.
Yeah.
So it's the same lawyers, and these lawyers don't come cheap, apparently.
Which, and again, you know, putting your sensible hat on. We've been there before. There was companies registered by Amanda Stavely.
Yeah.
Used the same solicitors as Mike Ashley.
If he's by Sunderland, I'll be well pissed off.
Imagine.
So again,
No.
Kenyon, you know, it came out between the club and him of that they'd both invested a lot of time and money with solicitors and stuff. You know, when he was trying to take over the club.
In fairness here, what I will say is where we were all wrong and we all said it was, what's he called? He's Mashy's mate. Every time something gets released to say it's
Keith Bishop.
Big eye. Every single time something happens, it's always him that's leaked it, apparently, this media genius. When Kenyon was involved, they all kept saying that there was other people interested, and nobody took it, didn't we? Everyone was like, bollocks, there's no one interested. But it appears that these guys were all the way
been
along.
interested all along.
were behind
Well,
the
there's always been talks of a Dubai-based, investment
You just
company
go
and stuff like that.
The thing is, with that too, with like Stavely and Kenyon, you could easily link that back to Ashley in some way, like mutual people between them. With these in like Dubai, you can't figure out a link, because what have they got to achieve by attaching their name to Newcastle United? What are they going to achieve by it?
Well, you just think is, are these previous takeover rumours and stuff like that? Because this is something that has been mentioned before. Has that been to flush out, buyers that will actually come in and do what is being asked for? Because apparently the money was on the table in the past for the same amounts, 350 million from Stavely, albeit with certain
clauses and a lot of clauses
things like that. Whereas this just seems to be from what we are led to believe,
money up front.
It just seems to be a £350. And obviously it's a very different situation where we are now compared to when the other takeover rumours were happening, because we've secured our future. We're in the Premier League for another season. It's not up in, we're not fighting a relegation battle yet. So you just the Stavely one. I just as you know, I just never thought it was going to happen from the start.
No, you didn't like.
Kenyon, I was a bit more hopeful just because of his background and stuff like that. But again, that quickly kind of dissolved all hope and stuff like that when more and more of the story came out. But with this one, as we've said, and as everybody keeps saying, it just feels very different, kind of how it's happened, and
it's the thing that's doing it for me
that kind of thing.
Is the silence of the club. And I tweeted something last night saying, if the club know this is bullshit, they're as bad because they're misleading us as well. Because they can see how excited fans are getting. Half of the people employed by the club may be fans of Newcastle United, or at least have some connection to fans of the club. Obviously, there'll be people employed that couldn't give two fucks about the fans, really. But there's certain people, and if they know that this is shit...
The majority of the day-to-day running staff there are local people. Of
course.
It's only, the coach and squad and stuff like that, and maybe some of the directors and stuff like that won't be affiliated with the area.
But you've got to remember, if they know that this is a load of shite, you would have hoped that someone would have came out and went, don't get your hopes up, nothing's happening. But then we'll look back at previous court cases where the club have openly admitted to misleading fans.
Maybe that's why they say no comment, because they don't want to try and mislead or do anything and just say we're saying nothing until it's done. Because obviously, as you rightly what you say, they've misled in the past. So the old Ashley or the old Newcastle, the way they operated, could have come and said, "Oh, absolutely, it's nearly done. Yeah, he's coming over the night for tea. We're going to sign it," and then it doesn't happen.
Curry.
But maybe this is now because of what they got done for before. Ashley said, "Listen, no matter what, it's just no comment until we've got it signed, sealed, delivered."
Yeah,
perhaps I'm just saying.
But then I suppose I look at it and think the whole Stavely thing. It took a while for Ashley to come out and quash those rumours, because obviously the whole Curry thing happened, and a few weeks down the line with how this was set up, it wasn't even a meeting, she was just in the same restaurant with them, and she openly got photographed in the restaurant.
Yeah, he didn't like. I don't think he liked that.
He didn't like that, no.
No, he didn't, because he kind of it was quite a. What the statement that he really, not a statement was it, but he had a bit of a go.
Oh, he's pissed off.
He was like, people just using the club and myself to the
potential
almost,
game, yeah.
You know what I mean? And
but yeah, I don't understand what did she get from that?
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know what these would get from it.
Other than getting gone to 2 games for now.
These apparently have released statements of
friendship with Steve Wraith. That's what she got. Hi, Steve.
And George.
They want to compete for the Europa League next year. Apparently, already saying that 5 years they want Champions League, then they'll want more investment. If they're all legit things like what they're saying, then why would you say all of that when you've got no? See, imagine if they're in the house and I was laughing. What are them gaining from that? They're losing business. I'm trying to think of the word.
And apparently, the whole
you say that,
stature,
but no.
Or respect.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, nobody had heard of this fella, other than him being linked with Liverpool. The other, which again, that's the other nagging thing in the back of your mind is it rings very similar to the whole Staveley thing of her trying to buy Liverpool. And I know there's a massive gulf in the money involved.
I read a book about that, actually. Well, not a full book, but I read the chapter I wanted to read. And apparently that's bullshit when they say that he couldn't produce the money and stuff like that. Bottom line is they met in New York and he didn't want to sell. And he was like, he said, "I'll buy it for $2 million." No, I just don't want to sell it.
Well, let's remember, it's a perfect way to finish that. There's two sides to every story.
Yep.
Right now, we've only heard one side of the story. We've heard nothing from the club. The only thing that we've heard is from potential buyers, and from their side, it seems like great news for us. We've just got to sit patiently and wait to see what the club do now. That's it.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
So you would hope something would happen this week. Because Rafa's contract's running out. We've got a few questions. We'll do question answer after this one. There's a few questions about Rafa. His contract runs out at the end of the month. We've only got 2 weeks, isn't it?
20 days. Yeah.
And obviously today we had, out of the blue, Rafa turned up at the training ground.
Out of the blue.
Out
of the blue sky were there.
To be fair, they're there.
Most
days.
I
thought that was just some guy with his phone. Just I didn't see anyone there that was Sky. Like, the camera quality was horrific. It was as if someone was a kid was just there going, "Oh, there's Rafa." Like, it's
not the school holidays.
Not every kid goes to school in Newcastle, you know.
So,
what?
No, every kid goes to school.
It's a Spanish holiday. All the Spanish kids are off.
Doesn't go to school.
Yeah, absolutely. I know 3 that don't. That I work with. Well, I don't work with them. I work with their dads. Refuse to go to school. True story. I'll introduce you to them, the fellas. I'll introduce you to them. I'll introduce you.
Right, if you had to put a percentage on this takeover happening,
honestly, I'm not lying.
You go first. So your percentage of this happening.
This is the most confident I've.
Bearing in mind, you're the one that normally from the start. No,
and I am like.
This is the most confident. He's 11%.
12.
I'm still trying to keep a level head on it, but I'm up there like 95%.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. Jeez,
I'm shocked at that, mate.
I was thinking about 50 or something. I don't think I'm that close now.
Jesus, mate, you've shocked me with that one. So if you had to put a percentage on it. Last week were you 90 the last one? Because you were 100, then you slowly started dropping down.
Staying, no doubt. I was actually bored.
Craig Hope got you down to like 40%.
God, what a wave of emotions that was.
You changed.
I'd probably say 90%.
95 is probably a bit optimistic, but I'm on the brink, like. So
I'm going to be a little bit more level-headed, and I'll go 75.
That's probably more realistic, isn't it?
I'm there, but the worry's always Ashley for me. He can shift these goalposts whenever he wants, but if it's already been agreed, if the price has already been agreed, can he really shift the goalposts? He can get the PR1 scores.
No, I think the issue that we're not aware of yet is the whole Premier League, dealings there. If the money's not going to be an issue, we're led to believe. We believe, proof of funds has been provided.
I thought that was a big statement from them, because all the press was saying at the time that they hadn't. Oh, there's no proof of funds have been done yet.
Or official bid. You don't need an official bid. We've agreed this price. Yeah. When everything's sorted, just transfer it. Yeah. There's no official bid needed.
I do find that all a bit weird. Like, imagine they just come with a lorry of cash. Well, we've got the money here, mate.
This is an official bid.
I live in the club shop for you until we buy. It's like ridiculous.
Give us one of them big bags, 10 pence bags.
It's stupid that you would just proof of funds to say you've got the money. I get that, but an official bid.
Yeah, what is an official bid?
What's going on? Like,
doesn't need a tick next to it.
You have to send a fax.
Doesn't need to be sent in green.
Yeah, but I don't know.
It'll be some sort of contract, isn't it? Which is obviously why they're going to have the solicitor or something like
that. Doesn't need to be on letterheaded paper.
It will. It'll have to be signed by the directors or whoever it is, which is
directors of monochrome acquisitions.
Why they've got to set up that company to be able to. I
hate to say it, I still think he's going to have his sponsorship in there somehow.
I'll take it.
I really do.
Well, there was another picture taken today on a ground tour, and all of those signs that had been chucked in the skip haven't been replaced as yet.
I'm still down.
They're still down.
Yeah, just come with bigger ones.
So the only one that's...
Well, apparently the Sports Direct logo is slightly changed. Just slightly. So obviously if it has, you would expect them to get redone. I wasn't getting too carried away with the whole skip.
When you looked at the East Stand, all of the ones along the barriers that normally just hang over it and stuff like that, there was only, I'm sure it was Bet365 were the only ones that were were still on display. All the ones up on the back and all that kind of which
All
are
the director seats have been written on, haven't they, as well?
Yeah, the back, yeah.
building a harem.
I imagine you just
Shisha lounge.
and they'll just have like
Me,
on it.
me and Adam were wandering around the back of the
Red and blue seats.
The worst ever. Yeah, imagine that.
Me and Adam were wandering around the back of the Leazers the other day, and there's a mountain of sand like out the back of there, ready to go in for a desert.
For the camels and that.
So
I'm done. Anyone else?
the one thing with what was I going to mention that I've just now forgotten?
No idea, mate. You tell me.
Oh, the winding up of the old companies associated with the
we're seeing this with
takeovers and
Stavely.
stuff like that, and
We're seeing this with was it Kenyon? We saw it with Kenyon or one of them. Can't remember. There was so.
Do you mean about Newcastle Home?
yeah. So there was low. It was about six or seven.
Is that where it
companies
says you've
that
got X amount of days before these
wound up and
documents are
stuff like
released?
that.
We had this before and it was a load of shit. Like it was just a change in something.
Well, actually, the winding up the companies. So they're basically saying those companies no longer exist.
How many companies Newcastle United associated with? Though I bet there's a shitloads. I bet
Well, he changes it quite regularly, doesn't he? So you can siphon off his money and sell land at the end of the Gallagher through 5 of his own companies to then pocket it himself. Allegedly.
I'm not getting too carried away about what Newcastle are releasing in regards to Companies House. It was more of what this Monaco
again,
magazine was.
It just adds to to the fuel to the
if
rumours.
that cannot be me or you, just set that up for a laugh, and then if that is them, because as you're saying legally it has to be, and you can't falsify them.
Well, it can be, but you can't then prove
Put a
your
director,
identity as the director.
Right, so that is proving then that is them.
That is their company.
So
But
they're
again-
either paying £12
But
an hour
again,
for all.
Amanda Stavely did that.
But
But
that
yes,
got shut down really quickly. Like really, really quickly. Within days that got shut down. I mean, it's got nothing to do with Newcastle United.
But maybe, in fairness to, as we know through George Copeland, the offers were there, they were legit.
Yeah, they were
had
legit,
been sent them official bids, perhaps, that's what we're going to call them. So maybe, you know what I mean?
Letter-headed bids.
And maybe she set up that business thing, he's
Again,
going to
I think,
accept one of these.
looking back on it, there's no reason why you wouldn't think that was a genuine attempt to buy the club.
Oh, it
But
was.
Mike Ashley just didn't want to play ball on it.
No, that wasn't a genuine attempt. It just wasn't good enough for Mike Ashley.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
He turned around and said she was a time waster because, well, basically she wouldn't give him what he wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really,
Which is
what
what
she
George
was offering
Colton
was
said as
fair
well.
at the time, I would say. In regards to relegation, we'd only just been promoted, hadn't we? When Stevie was linked.
Was it not?
No, it was halfway through the season.
It was our first season though after the championship, wasn't it?
Was it?
And what destined, no one knew if we were going to
Just
start climbing the table or
before
dropping.
Christmas kind of time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
So we're all pretty confident that this is.
I must admit, I am I've even created my football manager. I'm ready to go.
this is the one where, literally, when I'm reading stuff, it's. I mean, that Sunday night, I was getting into bed.
I was in bed, mate.
I know, same.
And I was like,
You were pulling up next to us.
and I went, here, Mark.
See this?
Look at
And I
this.
just give it one old thumb down, and I was like, fuck,
Was it?
what's
I
this?
was-
Up for the rest of the night.
It
Just like this.
I couldn't believe it. It was unreal.
3 weeks later, we're still scrolling.
But it doesn't surprise us that though. It didn't.
Blisters on me thumbs.
I did the second. I think it was the same night. I was just constantly. That sounded really bad.
What are we doing?
The noise it makes on Twitter.
Right, everybody, thank you for watching. Thanks for listening to the podcast. We've got 2 new sponsors for next season.
Yep.
So obviously Dom's coming back with Guglielmo Clothing, and we've got Jody Gifts on board. But you'll hear more about those in the upcoming videos. So see you when we're rich.
Loads of money.